Welcome back to the channel, good friends. Brian from Apex Detail. Seems like everybody is getting into the ceramic game. Today, we're going to take a look at Mother's Ultimate Hybrid Ceramic Wax. Now, depending where you look, you can pick this up for $16 and change up to upwards north of $22 for the 16 fluid ounces. And just like the last product that I reviewed, there is some language on the label that could misconstrue people, maybe be misunderstood by some. So I'm going to go over those today and review the product. So in the new bottles, they have three new products: a quick detailer, which is not in the picture, a spray wax, and then this here, a very interesting ceramic wax, easy on, easy off. Now, if you're going to use this on its own, of course, a wash, a decon using clay, iron remover, and at least a one-step polish is recommended. Now, let's go over what the label states. And then you'll understand why I have 3000 grit sandpaper and will be scuffing up the left side of this hood. The label indicates that it has ultra-fine polishes, quote-unquote, to remove minor imperfections and oxidation. Well, to me, that tells me that there would be some abrasives within, especially if you're going to remove oxidation. And it promotes the proper adhesion of their products that follow, like the Sio2 spray wax and the detailer. So on the left side, we're going to tape off an area, put some of this on a pad, and down below, even further in the directions, it says to apply the product onto a soft, clean microfiber towel, maybe a suitable applicator, or directly onto a buffer pad. Now, this product contains ceramic and carnauba. And if you take the labeling at its face value or misunderstand it one way or another, you would think there are abrasives within to remove oxidation and minor imperfections. So we're going to mask off an area. We'll break out the polisher, put some on a one-step pad, and see if we can make improvements in this area. Then on the other side, we'll apply it as normal, as a liquid wax would be applied, and we'll torture it a bit after curing. What I have here is a polisher with a 15mm throw and Kokemi's one-step pad. And with this combination, you could use just a finishing polish to remove 3000 grit for the most part. So this should have no problem whatsoever with just two passes, which is a crisscross pattern in this text section. Feeling it, I don't feel the abrasives. There's oil added to it, so maybe they're meaning that it has filling capabilities, which is a little bit of a different situation than being able to shave away and remove minor imperfections and correct them. But either way, we're going to find out. Now, I want to make it clear, they want you to leave the haze on there for a few minutes and let that SiO2 start to bond. But in this section here, I'm going to remove it right away so we can come in and see if there was any imperfection removal, and I don't see a difference whatsoever. Maybe some very minor filling, but there was no correction, no minor imperfection removal, or I don't see any oxidation being removed either. So let's just put that past us. And then just to prove my point, here is a finishing polish with very minor abrasives, and let me show you what that should do in this section. That's what I'm talking about. That's what it should look like, and that is a correction fluid. So again, whoever is putting these labels together, um, they can be confusing to some. I see that. So let's, in the right section, first get some measurements in gloss, and we'll write those down on the masking tape. We'll apply the product, let it cure properly. 24 hours, we'll come back and check some measurements in gloss. We'll see what the slickness is like. We'll see if it can put up with some heat, and we'll do some torturing. On average, 94.4 gloss units when measuring in 6 different sections of the test panel. We'll do the exact same thing after the product is applied and cured. I can tell you, having tested this previously, it's easy to work with and it is forgiving. So you can apply this and let it sit for the few minutes that it calls for and let it haze over a bit. But if you have a customer come in or you're distracted and you have to be away 10, 20 minutes, it still wipes off very easily and does not leave high spots or streaking behind. We're going to cover the positives and negatives just like we always have, and I'll show you both, and that way you can make a more informed decision when you're looking into these products. So this is what it looks like immediately when you apply it to the panel. We're going to let it sit for the few minutes. I'm going to let it sit for 5 minutes, and we'll let it haze over. And this is what it looks like, a little dried up. And we bring in the towel, and again, very, very easy to apply and remove. So we're going to let this sit overnight. I have stuff to do, and we'll come back in about 24 hours or so. And when we do, we can definitely feel a slight increase in slickness, and that can be showed by the visual of the block sliding off easily from that section. When it comes to gloss, an increase as well. So here are some positives. Easy to use. It will give you some slickness, a bit of an increase in gloss. So we go from 94 to 96 gloss units and change. So we have a bit of an increase. So after its cure time, let's see if it can deal with heat. And we'll hold this heat gun in the exact same place for as long as it takes for the area to reach 170 degrees or more. So when we take it outside, we will keep an eye on that area. There's actually a little imperfection that we can keep an eye on, so it marks the area. We drag the panel outside, we'll remove the tape and look for a jetting effect or a darkening, or does it make the area look darker, richer, give it some depth. I barely notice anything at all. I can see a tiny bit of an outline in person, not sure if that's coming through through the camera. Let me know down in the comments section. And now we are into what I believe are the drawbacks of the product. We're going to introduce water to the panel, and when we do, it's hard to tell if it's supposed to be prominently a beading or a shading product. It does both, depending on how much water is introduced to the panel. It will bead and sheet to a certain extent. It doesn't sheet very fast, especially after it's been through a little bit of hardship, and we're going to show you that. We're going to start the 10 wash test. After the first wash, you could see the sheeting is slowing down quite a bit, but it is a little bit quicker than the surrounding areas outside the protection box. After the second wash, all areas are sheeting pretty much the same, and it's at a snail's pace. One more time for good measure. Now, honestly, that doesn't mean the protection, whatever they use for UVA, UVB, and IR, and maybe chemical resistance, it's still there. The gloss is still there. The gloss is still impressive, but whatever they add to it for water behavior is just very, very dull and not impressive whatsoever. And just for my amusement, I want to hit it with a harder chemical, a wheel cleaner or an all-purpose cleaner here. We'll douse it, let it sit for a few seconds, rinse it off, give it a wash, and see what it looks like. Again, not impressive whatsoever, and I did apply this to a cart that I use to care for my property at home, which sits outside all the time through rain and all kinds of inclement weather, and it doesn't hold up there either as well. Gives it a nice bit of gloss, makes it feel slick, easy to apply and remove, but that's where it ends. This has been Brian from Apex Detail. If you have any questions or anything to add, please down in the comment section, help yourself.